joining us today on the Man Blitz. I'd just like to take a moment to remind you to follow us on Twitter at Man Blitz. Visit us at www.freemanblitz.com. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker. And don't forget to view us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks, guys. Hey, everybody, and welcome into the college edition of the Man Blitz. As always, I'm your boy, Andrew. With me is Jeremy and Kwesi. Say what's up, fellas.
What's up?
Yeah. So, the next to last edition of the college football playoff rankings just dropped, and we're here to go over that with you. We'll interject a little bit, throw in some opinion, and then we'll answer some questions that are burning in our minds after this insane past couple of weeks of college football. But before we do any of that, it's time to drink, boys.
Oh, it is. Come on.
You're speaking my language. You're speaking my language.
It's the liquor talking, Randers.
Well, we tore it from the floor up.
Cheers.
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 So good. All right.
That was for my Georgia, Missouri.
Yeah. Kwesi owes me a double shot bet.
Okay, that
Or
wasn't
Georgia,
me.
Missouri.
That was Nostra Blackness. Okay,
Nostra Blackness.
Nostra Blackness.
He might make another appearance this week. I hope so. I like him.
Yeah.
He's better than Kwesi. All right. So your playoff teams just dropped as of right now. So I'm going to go through the top 25 real quick.
All right.
Number 25, we have Colorado. 24, San Jose State. Like, what the? 23, Tulsa. 22, North Carolina State, the Wolfpack there. Number 21, Oklahoma State. Number 20, Texas. They remain unchanged. Number 19, the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana. Number 18, Miami. They dropped 8 spots after their loss to North Carolina, where North Carolina ran for over like 300 yards on them. It was ridiculous.
That they did.
Tar Heels, yeah. BYU sitting at number 17. Iowa, the Hawkeyes, they don't move at number 16. North Carolina jumps 2 spots to number 15. Northwestern sitting at number 14. USC 13. Coastal Carolina 12. Indiana 11. Oklahoma back in the top 10. Cincinnati sitting at 8-0. They actually are undefeated, but they dropped a spot, sitting at number 9. Georgia moves up after a win over Missouri to number 8. Florida falls a spot after a ugly loss we'll talk about later to number 7.
They're no longer a shoe-in.
They had their foot in the door. Oh, God, all the dad puns are coming out. Okay, number 6, Iowa State. Number 5, now these top 5 have remained unchanged, so I'll just fly through them. Texas A&M, Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, Alabama. Any initial thoughts, gentlemen?
No, it's not really. I want to see the championship games this weekend to see if there's any actual shakeup. That's the most intrigue for me. Otherwise, I think it's about set. I think it's pretty much the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever said this ever on one of our podcasts since we've been doing it, but I hate Notre Dame.
Who?
Yeah.
I had no idea. How shocking.
I hate Notre Dame.
Are you talking about
So
those
no, I don't think they
fighting
deserve
Irish?
to be up there. And hopefully Clemson and Sunshine will take them out this game.
We will get
They'll
there, my
still be
friend.
in. They'll still
But
be
first-
in, Bo. You know.
But first,
Yes.
But first.
we had a big firing at a major SEC school this weekend.
We
And
did.
it actually comes after a win, and a fairly decent win at that. The Auburn Tigers, who have looked extremely disappointing this season and in several seasons past, and this man's 8-year tenure, have fired head coach Gus Malzahn. Jeremy, what can you tell us about his firing, and where will Auburn go in their coaching search?
Yeah, I can tell you that after the most recent win, he is in the locker room dancing legitimately with his team. And then the next day he gets the news, hey, man, you ain't got a job no more.
Yes.
Hey, good job on that win, man. But we don't want you no more. So get out. We're going to get someone else, okay? Get.
I honestly thought if they got the win that he would get to retain his job. I really did.
I guess they were tired. They, being the powers that be, were just tired of the mediocrity, I guess. To me, they've not been – I don't want to say mediocrity. It makes them sound like they've not been as good. But if you go back and look at his track record, it's pretty good. He's a winning football coach. I don't want to say he's a great coach by any stretch, but he is a very good coach. I think a lot of teams would like to have the records that they even have had. playing against Alabama that you play every year, LSU with their championship teams, A&M on the rise. The SEC West is a tough division, and I know what they're wanting. They want just to get over the hump. They want any coach and anything that they can do to get over the hump. But no matter what, he's gone.
Yeah.
So with him gone, they are turning to
Harbaugh. They can have Harbaugh.
I haven't seen Harbaugh's name on the list, but that doesn't mean
I'm
he's
saying
going
it
to
now.
at him.
He's going to the Falcons.
He is
Shut
going
up. Don't
pro.
send them to the
From
Falcons.
what I've seen. I also saw something today that said that he's looking at staying at Michigan. And
Okay, Auburn. We're talking about Auburn right now.
I'm just saying. You brought up Harbaugh. I just wanted to say. But the university is turning to Parker Executive Search. It's a firm in Atlanta to help them in the coaching search, which is not uncommon. It's
They're
not
like,
uncommon.
we can't find our own.
It's not uncommon. A lot of people do it. A lot of universities do it.
But when you talk about it, it's just like
It's like you're going through a temp service or something.
embarrassing.
They also have like a little committee, which is it's like the AD and a couple other players. Most notably would be what's his name? Bo Jackson. I can't believe I forgot Bo Jackson's name.
Bo Jackson.
But Bo Jackson. And right now you're
What? Okay, go.
he's on like the committee. They've got a couple older players that went there. People that have vested interest in seeing Auburn be good again. Be championship teams to help with the search. I don't know exactly what they are doing and helping other than saying, I like that guy.
Yeah, just a vetting process, I'm sure.
I don't know, probably. But, Kevin Steele, their defensive coordinator, is currently the interim head coach.
Okay.
And from what I understand, he is the front runner to become the new head coach. And I know Kevin Steele's a really good defensive coordinator.
Yes.
So maybe they would become that kind of guy, and he could steal somebody away as a really good offensive. I got my dogs over here fighting, man. They can't help themselves. When I get on camera, they got to. But other possible names that are being thrown out there, and this is like public, like this isn't just me throwing this around before I say it. Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss. I swear, they literally have Lane Kiffin as a coach that they want to bring in for an interview.
Hasn't he been like coach of every SEC team now?
Pretty much making his way. He's making his way through.
Ole Miss, thanks for the shot, but I'm going to go over here.
Yeah, well, could you imagine that would be true to Lane Kiffin, man? Tennessee for a year, departed right away through the night to USC, and Ole Miss for a busted up COVID season, and now Auburn head coach. I can see it. Other coaches, as Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like Cristobal.
Yeah, and here's the one that I think will have a lot of traction, if not with Auburn, any other team that's looking for a coach, and that's Alabama's offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah.
Steve Sarkisian right now, man, he's got good offensive mind. He could probably right now have any head coaching job that he wants within reason. Apparently, Hugh Freeze, which has been the hot commodity for whatever reason through this season, is not in the mix. So anybody that's wanting to jump on that Hugh Freeze train, he's not being mentioned.
Maybe because he's already in talks with somebody else.
Yeah, quite possibly. But I would say that, Malzahn, I mean, they're paying like almost $20 million or just over $20 million in buyout to fire him. So I hope they have
really wanted it.
A coach in mind to take that spot, because take it from a Tennessee fan who went through something like this, and we're just now got done paying one of our other coaches. It's not something that you want. Fire him. You getting that fire your head coach mentality when they're not doing exactly what you want or not getting you all the wins that you think that you should have. And then you get another coach that's probably not as good, and then you keep going through that. It's not going to get you more wins. So just be careful what you wish for there. But I like Kevin Steele. That's who I would want if I was an Auburn fan.
I pegged him for actually turning pro this year. I thought that might be a move that he would be ready to make with Gus Malzahn being on the rocks, but I thought Gus would actually make it to the end of the season. So
never know. They throw enough money at him, he'll probably stay.
All right, Jeremy, I got one more for you, my friend. What non-championship matchup seems most intriguing this weekend? We've had a lot of games that were canceled due to COVID complications and just weird scheduling, this and that, and we had a lot of games rescheduled to this week. Are there any that just stand out to you?
There really isn't. There's not a ton. And I went through and I'm a casual fan when it comes to a lot of the games, but there's just a lot of games that have been canceled. And then a lot of the games that hold all the intrigue are, of course, your championship games. I'm a Tennessee fan. Of course, I want to see the Texas A&M Tennessee game because if there's an upset and Tennessee's been playing, they just played an okay game against a crappy team. But, if they beat Texas A&M, it really knocks them out of any kind of hope at playoffs. But outside of that, Wake Forest, Florida State, don't care. Utah, Washington State, don't really care. Army, Air Force, if you want to get behind an armed forces game, I'm sure it's going to be all right. LSU, Ole Miss, I could watch that game.
Yeah, that Oregon USC game could be pretty good too.
That's a championship game.
Is it?
Yeah. It was going to be Washington, and for whatever reason, it's Oregon now, and it's their Pac-12 championship game. It is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I'm looking through here, like Stanford, UCLA, like all the Pac-12 games. I don't really care about, honestly. Penn State, Illinois, I just don't care. Minnesota, Wisconsin, maybe, but there's not a ton. If you guys see one, by all means, let's talk about it. But from what I'm seeing, it just looks kind of like outside of championship games. I don't want to watch any of them.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
All right, well, in that case, moving on, I thought you might dig out a diamond in the rough for us, which I'm sure we'll end up finding one, flipping through channels. We'll be like, wow, that game's a lot closer than I thought.
Now, there may be good games, but as far as watchability and like something I've got a vested interest in beforehand, not really. Like I said, LSU Ole Miss, I could watch that game.
Gotcha.
Kwesi, I need you to recall the forces that is Nostra Blackness. Can you summon him? Summon him.
Oh, he's going through his episodes.
He went Super Saiyan.
Give him a minute.
Do you have a hat or something? You putting on a hat?
No, he needs
a shot.
He needs a shot. He needs an offering to Joe Boo. Joe Boo.
Nostra Blackness, am I speaking to you?
What's good, Cat? What's good?
All right. Who is your championship game upset this week?
I don't know about championship. I'm gonna throw you some upsets to you, man.
Don't say San Jose.
I'm gonna throw some upsets to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna start off from an undefeated team. Coastal Carolina going down to the Raging Cajuns.
Ooh, they gonna be raging.
Yeah. Raging Cajuns they're ranked right now. They're 19th, if I'm correct. They're gonna take out that Coastal Carolina because they'll get very comfortable.
19th, you're right.
Yes.
And Coastal Carolina just squeaked by a team.
Yeah.
Last week.
And another team you can't deny always. That's very sneaky. That Bluefield team, Boise State.
Boise
State against San Jose State, who just became ranked 24th, if I'm correct right now.
They
undefeated, son. They undefeated. 6-0, baby, in the Mountain West.
Boise State gonna take them out. So I like that one. And in a game that's not really an underdog, but a game I want to see get pulled out is Clemson defeating and redeeming themselves over Notre Dame.
Yep. Yeah. And they have Clemson as a 10.5-point favorite. Which if I'm a Notre Dame, and I'm not a Notre Dame fan, and I know you're not, Kwesi. But 10.5, I would feel super disrespected after we've already beat Clemson. You didn't have Trevor Lawrence, and I get it, but still, you beat that team. It went down to the wire. It's not like,
it didn't go down to the wire. It went overtime.
It was past the wire.
Yeah.
You don't want to put Florida over Alabama?
No.
Not by a toe.
Not by shoelace.
And I'm not going to put Northwestern over Ohio State. No.
Oh, I wish you would.
Hey,
all right.
Hang on. Let's say Northwestern does beat Ohio State and Florida beats Alabama. What does that do to the playoffs? What does
playoffs?
Playoffs? What does that do to the championship
Alabama
playoffs?
Still goes. Alabama still goes. Ohio State's out.
They might put Ohio State out because of the number of games they played.
There's a lot of
might try to push it in Texas A&M.
There's a lot of coaches verbally pissed off that Ohio
including
State,
Dabo Swinney.
That Ohio State got let into this their Big Ten championship game, and that they're being considered. I mean, I mean,
it's called money.
They played 5 games, bro.
It's called money. And I mentioned that, a couple episodes ago. If they got into it, they'll show how biased the Big Ten are towards this team.
They really are. And I don't think it's really even just towards to Ohio State, really. I think they knew as a conference, as a moneymaker, Big Ten, that they were the best shot they had to get into the playoffs. So they were like, we need them in there, which really sucks, I might add, for Indiana. And I would be highly pissed off if I was an Indiana fan, and I'm kind of pissed off for them anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are jumping ahead to a question I already have, so let me just go ahead and throw it out there, and then I'll get back to Kwesi's question. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Ohio State being given a free pass to the Big Ten championship?
Yeah,
because this is recent news.
What I did expect him to do was to be like BYU did and pick another team to play, and I wanted them to play the Raging Cage, as a matter of fact, in particular. But just to give it to them while them playing another game, that's not fair to me. That's not fair to the Big Ten.
Yeah,
that's not fair to the other NCAA teams.
No, yeah. To put it succinctly, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that if Ohio State seems to be a very good team, and that if they play anybody more than likely, they are probably going to win.
Yeah, I give them that.
But that's not the way that football's played. If you want to go ahead, who was it? Romeo Crennel. If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. That's basically what they did. They just said, fuck it, here.
Yeah.
You're the champ.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if you're going to go by this logic, why not just go ahead and put the teams that were in the top 4 in the preseason polls in the playoffs? I mean, we assume they're going to win, so we're just going to.
And that's what makes college football so great, right? Because it's not always, and most of the time it is a lot of the big time programs, but you always have that Cinderella team that does great. Yeah. LSU last year was not supposed to be a great team. And look, they're considered the best team of college football history now.
Yeah. And I'm gonna throw y'all this boomerang that I always bring this up. Remember years ago when the playoffs first started, TCU wasn't let into the playoffs because they didn't play one more game.
Yep.
And now Ohio State's being let into the playoffs without playing one more game.
They played 5 games.
Yeah.
Indiana went through a ton of struggles, and if I'm not mistaken, they've lost 1, and they've played 7 or 8 games.
Yeah, they also lost their starting quarterback too, though.
And they did, and they still won that week after against Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken.
Without Penix, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and you didn't even give them a shot.
Yes,
I mean
that's crazy.
I don't know, man. I guess that's COVID year for you.
Shame on you, Big Ten.
I mean, I never would go for Ohio State anyway, but still, definitely not going for them now.
No.
All right. Well, this kind of flows into the next question that I had for Kwesi. So let's flow it. Who will end up being disrespected by the College Football Playoff Committee on Sunday?
Now, I think they already disrespected Miami by dropping them down so much. They had a horrible game against North Carolina. But to drop 8 spots and a potential Heisman Trophy winner, he's not going to win it, but he's named that as far as Houston. King, as far as King.
Yeah, King from Houston. Yeah.
But to be dropped 8 spots, it was just they shouldn't have been dropped 8 spots. What I'm basically getting at, and that should definitely not happen. I think Texas A&M is going to get tossed way down also too. I think they're a very tough team, very good team who could be in the playoffs in any other conference. But since they're with that Alabama, they won't make it.
If they had stayed, weren't they? They came over from Big 12, right?
Yeah,
Texas A&M.
If they were the exact same team they are now in Big 12, I mean, they're probably playing in their conference championship and in that discussion. They're in the discussion now, sitting at 5, or at least until Tennessee beats them.
Yeah, and I remember a couple episodes. I think I did mention that I think Texas A&M would be in there and not Florida. And which is kind of panning out right now.
That also flows into my next question.
Love it.
Jeremy, I know you're going to love this one. Kwesi, you should appreciate it too. What did you guys think about the Florida versus LSU game?
Man.
Hey, I picked that one. Nostra Blackness picked that game.
He did, yeah.
Nostra Blackness got that one.
I mean, I thought it was a really good game. And I talked to a diehard Florida fan today, and he brought up a lot of good points, and it's kind of the way I would go at it if I was a Florida fan, which I'm not. But at the same thing, you stop LSU short, and you rip his cleat off and you toss it and you give them an extended field. They
toss it, man. He harpooned it.
He did.
He hurled it.
They kick a
Launched
50. They kick a 54-yard field goal, if I'm not mistaken, like just a long ass field goal, and make it. And then Florida drives down and they have a chance, and they kick a long field goal and don't make it, obviously, and that's how the game ends. But the thing is you got to look at, if you're a Florida fan and you're this team that's in the SEC championship game right now, and LSU's not been playing that great, why is that team in the game with you? You did not take care of business. You deserve to lose the game in that fashion. It shouldn't have even been close. You have a Heisman contender at quarterback, and the game's that close. Like, that's the way I would have to look at it as well. That's the way the Florida fan was talking about it to Kenny.
Yeah,
and you can't blame him for it. The kid that threw the cleat, of course, he's catching all the flack and a lot of jokes from us.
It was like instantaneously, because as soon as he threw it, two of his players came to him like, "What are you doing?"
No, yeah, you could probably see him. Yeah, and then everybody, no.
They were shoving him and slapping him on the head like,
"You doing?
Why'd you do that?" Like they already knew exactly what was going to happen.
Did y'all see Dan Mullen's defense of him after the game?
Oh,
did you guys hear that?
No,
you want to hear it?
I can't stand to hear him talk.
This isn't word for word. This is just sort of paraphrasing what he said. But he's like, well, he made a tackle, the game-winning tackle there. He was just celebrating and with his teammates. He just happened to have the shoe in his hand. And when he was celebrating, it just accidentally got tossed. And I was like, bro,
no.
Shut up. You're an idiot.
No.
I understand trying to defend your player, but come on.
Yeah.
He's a good on the field coach, but he's an idiot. Like
the kid made a mistake, obviously, and it was in the heat of the moment. I'm sure if he had any forethought, he would not have thrown that shoe.
No.
Well, apparently that particular player, which we're not going to throw his name out there, but he's been known to have issues with incidents similar to this in the past. So anyway, gentlemen, moving on to our final segment of the day, the night, whatever it is. Let's go to fourth down. You can punt or you can go for it. Number 1, Clemson versus Notre Dame. Jeremy?
I'm going to go for it. Go Tigers. That's it. I want to see him. I want to see him demolished. I really do want to see the rematch with Trevor Lawrence.
I do too.
I think they played very valiantly without him. And I can't pronounce the dude's last name. Not going to try. I don't know it. Don't have it in front of me.
Well.
But he played really good, and I think that the defense needs to step it up. And I do. I think that they'll win by 2 touchdowns. I really do. I think Clemson will take care of business.
And that's what I want to see. I want to see Clemson demolish Notre Dame because I think they can. And not just because I have a hatred for Notre Dame, but I really do think they can beat them, valiantly. So thoroughly.
And that'll be what it'll take too. If you really want to see, and I know you do, Kwesi, and I don't know if I want to or not, but this is pretty much a pre-playoff game, right? I mean, it's 2 of the top 4 teams. They're supposed to, if you did it right now, they'd both be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If Notre Dame lays an egg, let's say that the game, it's like super out of hand, does it even put them out of the playoffs, or they just go ahead and let them in anyway because they were up there at number 3?
No, they'll make it in.
And see, that sucks because if they beat them that bad, if they beat them to where it's like, like 45 to 10.
I'll say this. I'm going to say this. If Clemson wins, Notre Dame's out of the playoffs.
I disagree.
Now, my thing is this. If Clemson loses again with 2 losses now,
they're out.
Yeah.
Are you going to put them out? I don't think they'll be out. I think they'll still be in it.
I think they will. I think that Clemson is the only team in this game with something to lose. Honestly, if we look at the playoff history, when normally you have a top 4 matchup within the SEC championship week in, week out, but it'll be like Georgia, Alabama, or Georgia, LSU, or whatever. And there's always the talk that, oh, hey, look, if LSU loses like last year, if LSU had lost the SEC championship to Georgia, they still would have went. But if Georgia loses, then they're obviously out, which is exactly how the scenario played out. So that's what I see going on.
I think who's sitting real pretty is Texas A&M,
exactly.
honestly, because they're sitting at 5. obviously you got
That
one right
was-
there. 2 and 4 or 2 and 3 are playing each other. One of them's going to lose. All they have to do is take care of business on Saturday, which they should be able to do, honestly. And
that's why I see Notre Dame getting knocked out if they lose,
at
getting
that
knocked
point,
out and putting in Norton in Texas A&M, so they can strengthen the thought on the SEC.
and that could be at that point they'd have to seriously look, and they're going to have to. Somebody's going to lose, and if Texas A&M wins, obviously they'd have to. You've got that legit like, okay, well, they weren't in the championship, but they've only lost one game.
At the same time, you have to look at the fashion in which they lost to Alabama. Because if you're saying, okay, well, Clemson and Notre Dame are both playoff teams, and Clemson blew out Notre Dame, then you got to look at the same logic with Alabama and Texas A&M. Well, Alabama blew out Texas A&M, so do they really belong in this? I mean,
I think what really you can come down to and say definitively is that 4 teams is not enough. We need 8. You need 8 teams in this playoff. I know it's not going to happen. I don't know, but give me 8. Give me the 8. It ain't happening this year. So.
All right, guys. Well, that's all I've got. Unless you have anything else to throw in there.
I hate Notre Dame.
Go Big Orange.
Yeah. Go Dogs.
I hate Notre Dame.
Queezy's over here like
blue because my team.
Queezy's over here like go Commodores, anchor down. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us on another episode of the 3-Man Blitz College Edition. As always, like, subscribe, follow, whatever all that crap is.
Do it and hit it. It helps. Just hit the button.
Go for 3.
Go for 3.
As always.